Hey everybody, Ryan here. Hope all you guys had a very lovely weekend. I hope you guys are enjoying the start to your Monday. Happy Monday indeed, guys. But think about this. The really good news is after today, we're one day closer to Friday and the weekend. So get that positive vibe in your head, guys. But anyway, guys, last night I asked you guys what you wanted me to talk about on suicide prevention for today's episode, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit. It's going to be a very, very informative episode, but I want to remind you that I am not an expert. What I struggle with suicide to this day at times, and so I'm not the mental health professional and all that. I just wanted you guys to know that. But anyway, guys, welcome back to the channel of Positive Time with Ryan on YouTube. So someone messaged me around 3 o'clock this morning, and they said, you need to talk about does suicide happen in school? Do students really write suicide letters in school? And if you see that, what can you guys do about that? So I will answer the question. Yes. When students in high school, junior high, college, are they going to go to school and in free time that they have write a suicide letter? The answer is it does happen, yeah, and all that. I want you guys to understand that this is not funny. This is not well, that's crazy. That's dumb. I want you guys to understand that when someone is suicidal, for whatever reason it may be, it may seem very dumb to you, but it really is not to them, and it is a huge reason. But guys, all I could say about what you guys can do as a classmate is you can always talk to that individual and say, hey, I see you writing a suicide letter. Is everything okay? Is there anything you want to talk about? All that. But the most important thing you can do, and really the biggest thing you can do, is report it. I want you guys to understand, guys, that it is a big deal. This is not something to make fun of and laugh about by any means. But you know what, guys? There was 2 indicators in high school that I was writing a suicidal letter, and when I talk about my journey through that, I will share that. But I will be very honest with you guys. School counselors are probably not highly trained in the suicide level, which means they can not always know what to do. But here's the thing, guys. It always is obvious. Yeah, they're writing a suicidal letter. Obviously report it and all that. You would be amazed, guys, of how many people witness someone or hear about a possibility of someone writing a suicide letter and don't report it. And what really is troubling to me is that 94% of people that are going to do suicide, they are going to leave a letter behind and all that. And I want to say this, guys, because I actually learned this in college. When you read a suicide letter and all that, you are able to instantly look into the mind of that individual. One person showed me a suicide letter that their girlfriend wrote, and it was 5 pages front and back. And the one thing, when I read that letter, I read it 5 times, and I really, within the first paragraph, I found out the reason behind it. I found out why she was going to do it. And the really sad thing is she ended up committing suicide on drug overdose. But the one thing I need to say about that, guys, is that you know, sometimes when you read the letter, you're going to find out everything that has really been going on that you really had no idea about. And the one thing, guys, I hear, the one thing my friends tell me when I'm that way, or my psychiatrist or my psychologist tells me, is that maybe I'm going through something that they can't understand or they cannot relate to. But they can understand that it is bothering me. I want to make one thing very clear, guys. Suicide is no joke, and I don't believe there is a thing as a dumb reason to think about suicide. I think no matter what the incident is, it's always a big deal, and it needs to be talked about. Guys, I'm the only one in my entire family that has attempted suicide. I'm also the only one in my whole family that has mental health. And people look at me and they're like, well, how do you deal with that? I'm not going to really talk about how I deal with that because I don't think it's appropriate at the moment. But what I do believe is that, I have most of my friends have been way more supportive than my own family has. I have people in my family that support me no matter what. I have people in my family that have said, until you can be normal, you cannot be a part of the family. And when I share my experience, I will talk about how that bothered me. But you know what, guys? I always say this, okay? Maybe I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it anyway, okay? I'm 27 years old, and I have had the police called on me 14 times for suicide. All 14 times. Out of all the 14 times, 11 out of the 14 times, the same deputy showed up. And the one thing she told me is, she said, you know what, Ryan? I don't consider you someone I know. I consider you someone I care about and all that. And she's like, there's not every day that I can sit down with someone that I don't know very well and I can truly help them. But the one thing I want you guys to know, guys, is that you cannot help someone until they can help themselves. Okay, it's very important you know that, okay? When I go through depression, when I go through self-harm and suicidal thoughts, guys, at the end of the day, I can have all the love and all the support I want, but I will not get better until I either accept the help or I'm willing to do the work. And you know what, guys, when you're suicidal, that can be the hardest part, is not accepting the help, but doing the work, because you really feel like you're not going to get better and all that. And, there's a quote I have to remind myself of, getting better takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, okay? And it's not easy, guys, but I want to say this, guys. I am not perfect, okay? I've made mistakes in my mental health. I've made choices that I've repeated. I've made choices that I've regretted. And there's been times that literally someone is trying to talk to me and, help me. And I look at them as looking at someone who's trying to judge me and attack me. And you know what, guys? The one thing is, guys, everybody has a different opinion of law enforcement. I have a lot of respect for them because you got to understand, guys, law enforcement, man, you know what? The one thing I'm lucky is I've had really good experience with law enforcement with my mental health. But I think part of that reason, guys, is I listen. to them. They listen to what I have to say. I listen to them, and I know they're not out there to hurt me. I know they're not out there to judge me, and they want to help. And I'm willing to take the help, even if that means I have to be handcuffed, put in the back of a patrol car, and taken to the hospital, which is not a fun thing, by the way. But you kind of understand, guys, that some law enforcement, when I get all better, I always reach out to that officer or deputy, and I always say, you know what, I don't want to bother you, but if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here right now. You are the one person that saved my life. And you were not just that person, you were someone that helped me and always said you would be there for me and all that. And the thing is, guys, that is something I'm blessed. And I'm very thankful for. Okay, and so, you know what, guys, I understand that when you call the cops on someone who's suicidal, you're afraid on how it will end up. You need to also understand, guys, that law enforcement, they will do everything they can, okay? They will do everything they can. And the best thing to do, guys, with law enforcement, with mental health, is when you're calling on someone who's suicidal, you need to give them a lot of things. Do they have autism? Do they have any disabilities? Explain to the operator what has really been going on. Because when the officers are going to that call, to the suicide call, guys, all that info is going to be told to them, informed to them. So when they get on scene, they know, okay, how do I approach this? Believe me, guys, when someone who has disabilities like autism, Asperger's and all that is suicidal, it is a different approach than someone who doesn't have disabilities. It really is, guys. You cannot talk to someone. So I had a fly on me. You guys cannot talk to someone with autism and really Asperger's the same way you would talk to someone who didn't have that. It's crazy to think about, but it is true, guys. When people yell at me, I have friends that, like, when they yell, they immediately apologize, and all that. And then, guys, I mean, the thing is, guys, everybody is worth living, okay? If you really ever tell someone that, hey, you want to go selfie, I'm not going to stop you and all that. I hear that more than often because that person says they're not going to do it. But when you just said, hey, I'm not going to stop you, it means you're encouraging it. And I want you guys to just remember, guys, that they are worth it. You need to just tell them that, hey, you know what? I may not understand what's going on. I may not be able to relate, but you mean everything to me. I don't say you're my friend just because. I really mean that. And you're going through something really, really tough right now. But at the end of the day, you're worth it. And you're going to get through this, and we're going to get through it together. The more encouraging you can be to be there for them, the better off, guys. But you also got to understand, guys, that when someone is suicidal, do not gamble with it. And what I really mean by don't gamble with it is, like, really don't take your chances on trying to talk them out of it. As a family member, as a friend, it's probably the worst thing you can do because you care so much about them that you're going to say something that will not always help, okay? So here's what I would say, guys. How to help someone who's suicidal, it's different with everybody, okay? It really is. As crazy as it seems, some people will be better talking to women than a male. Some people would rather talk to a male than a woman. And I know it sounds really odd that way, but you gotta also understand that is big, okay? Sometimes a guy would rather talk to a female about it because a female is going to be more patient. That's not always the case, though, okay? But I want you guys to understand, guys, that please understand that you are worth it. No matter how big it gets, guys, there's going to be times that you say you're not worth it and all that. But you kind of, I'm just going to end it with this, okay? Life is a blessing. Every day you wake up is a blessing, okay? You gotta look at it this way. There are people that are in a hospital right now who are fighting cancer, and they don't know if today is the last day. They don't know, life is a blessing. And you really should cherish every moment of every day, because you don't know when your final moments are. And I know I don't hear that a lot, and it's not said a lot, but it needs to be repeated a lot, guys. Don't get me wrong, though. Mental health is important, okay? The more we can talk about mental health and the more we can understand it, the more better this world is. I know, guys, like I said, I have family members that want nothing to do with me because of my mental health. And when I get asked, do I love them? I say no, because they said something to their own family, like me, that, why would you say that, right? So, people say that, their family, they didn't mean it and all that, but you can't judge that, guys. And then, like I said, when I talk about my life and experience with suicide, I will cover that, because a lot of people, my girlfriend, who I've had for 3 years, she has no idea about that. I've never shared it with her. And all that, guys. But, I want to just make one thing very clear, guys. Everybody is worth it. There is not a person on this planet that deserves to die and is told they are not worth it anymore. And I'll even include people on death row. Because the thing about, and I'm gonna just say this, right? Inmates on death row, guys, this is what I believe. I believe they committed a crime that is heinous and maybe unforgettable, but at the end of the day, they are still a human being. And I'm just gonna leave it at that, guys. But remember, guys, life is a blessing. It is a journey. It is a roller coaster, and that's what makes life great, But I want you guys to just remember this, guys. No matter what you go through, no matter how big, how small it is, how traumatizing it is, at the end of the day, your life matters. And anybody that tells you differently is truly not someone that cares about you, okay? No one should tell you you're not worth it, you don't matter. You know what? Even if they don't like you, even if they hate your guts, they should never tell you that you don't matter, okay? And all that. So I hope that helps you guys and all that. But yeah. All right, guys, and tomorrow, I know we're kind of like at the beginning of the middle of September. I will announce tomorrow in our video what we are going to talk about next month. There are 2 things on the channel that we are going to be covering next month, so I will announce that tomorrow. Remember, guys, this Thursday is 9/11. So this Thursday, we will more than likely not be talking about suicide. We will be honoring and remembering 9/11 and all that. I just want you guys to understand that. So that will be this Thursday, guys. I have a very special memorial honorable for 9/11 planned. And if you guys have any questions regarding that, feel free to ask. But that is this Thursday on the channel.